Okay, now we're going to see how we incorporate these different chord qualities into jazz music. And really, almost all jazz music is based on what we call 2-5-1s. And they're kind of hidden in different keys in some pieces. But once you understand that terminology and start to listen for those, you'll see them pop up everywhere in jazz. Here's an example of, in the key of B flat, here's the 2 chord, which would be the C minor 7 chord. Okay, so if you take a look at the chord I just played, we have the C, the root of the chord, E flat, the third of the chord, and B flat, the 7th of the chord. And if you remember what we talked about with chord qualities, if we have C, E flat, and B flat, we have a minor 7 chord, okay? And also if you remember, we talked about where do the chords come from within the scale. The minor 7 chord is the 2 of the major scale. So we're going to assume then that if C is the 2, B flat is the 1. So if we're looking for B flat, a B flat dominant 7 or B flat major 7, okay, the key we're in, the C chord is our 2, and the F dominant 7 would be our 5 to take us back to, we're going to go ahead and use another dominant chord for that 1 chord. So if we put those together, we have the 2, the 5, and the 1. Now you'll notice, as we talked about in earlier videos, our right hand really doesn't have to move very far. For the 1 chord, we have the D and the A flat for the 3rd and the 7th. For the 2 chord, they both move up to E flat and B flat. And for the 5 chord, the E flat actually stays and becomes the 7th of the F chord. And the top note comes down a half step to give us our 3rd. So there's our F chord, F, here's the A, the 3rd, and the 7th. And then once we go back to the B flat, we're going to use, again, the dominant 7 instead of the major 7 for now, just in the chord progression that we're going to play with. So if we use those 3-note voicing examples, and let me start for you a little accompaniment track, and let's see if we can play those together. Okay, so you see from the B flat to the C is a minor, to the 5, F, is a dominant, and back to 1. And again, you're going to see what we call 2-5-1s hidden all over the place in jazz. They may not always be in the original key you start in. So I'd encourage you, when you see a minor chord followed by a dominant chord, look for or try to determine if that is a 2-5 progression in a different key maybe. Especially if it's using accidentals, you might consider that. So experiment with this 2-5-1 idea in the key of B flat and maybe in the other keys as well. I would encourage you to take a look at the key of F and maybe even the key of C to start with, and then venture around the circle of fifths until you've covered all the keys in the 2-5-1 progressions.